Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at this Craftsman V20 pressure washer. We're on location with my in-laws today, and they got this pressure washer that I helped pick out for them a couple years ago for Christmas because it has this one amazing feature. If you lift this up here, it uses a normal Craftsman V20 battery. This has 2 bars of charge on it right there. Hopefully you can see that. It's a little sunny out, so that you don't have to actually pull it with the cord. It's amazing. It's worked really well a couple times that they've used it, but it's had a problem lately that it doesn't want to start. So let's go ahead and try to start it up here. We'll see if we can replicate the problem, and then we'll try to solve it. The tools that you're going to need to be able to troubleshoot your non-working pressure washer are going to be some combination of the following. Obviously, your situation may vary. If you're going to drain the fuel system, you're going to need something to drain it into. So maybe a couple old sour cream containers, old milk jug, empty fuel can, take your pick. Something that's easy to pour into, I think, is better. That's why I like the sour cream container. I've got another one off to the side that's off camera here. Some good old-fashioned brake clean, always useful to have on hand. Starting fluid, it's a great way to try to figure out if you've got spark by spraying starting fluid right into the carburetor and see if that'll start up or not. Go ahead and get some perfectly clean, pure fuel. This true fuel here, I know, will work right out of the bottle, and I'm not concerned about the fuel being bad with that. Then you also may want like sea foam, or I also have some mechanic in a bottle I think I'm going to try to find here too, to be able to try to test and get the fuel working, if I can preserve the fuel that's in it or not. I don't quite know exactly how this is going to go. We're going to want some shop towels to clean up a mess. We've got chemicals here, safety glasses, obviously, a pair of just regular old pliers here for removing any clamps that hold your fuel lines together. 5/16 socket, 8mm socket, 1/4-inch drive ratchet is fine. Small extension, also useful. And obviously, depending upon your specific pressure washer, you may want a couple other sockets, so a nice 1/4-inch socket set would be perfect. And give yourself an hour's worth of your time, and hopefully you'll have some success with some combination of what I'm going to show you here today. So let's get into this job and see what we're working with. Step 1, go ahead, turn on the switch. Step 2, push the button. Nothing. Try it again with the pull cord. Nothing. All right, so we got a couple choices here. We can start taking it apart, trying to disassemble it, or we can start with perhaps the easiest fix first. A little concerned that the fuel might not be perfect or stabilized. You might have some old fuel that we need to be able to burn, so I'm going to use a little bit of this mechanic in a bottle, add that to the fuel tank to help to fix the fuel system. And then we're going to also use this starting fluid and spray that into the carburetor to try to give us that extra boost that we need to get things going. Now at the side of this engine, we're going to go ahead and open up fuel filter, pull that out. We got access to our carburetor right back there. I see it is oily and goopy here. We're getting at least a little bit of flow through here. We'll take our starting fluid, take your starting fluid of choice. Spray that in a couple good times. Replace the cover. There we go. Get that cover reseated again. I suspect we've got some carburetor buildup in it. So we'll just leave that off for now. So now after multiple attempts with the starting fluid, I'm going to think there's something to do a little more with the fuel system, so I'm going to investigate a little bit more and I will get back with you thanks to the magic of editing. Well, as you can hopefully see, the previous attempt was not very successful. So I've escalated the matter and removed the engine cover and pull cord starter, and have exposed access to the backside of the engine here. I also removed the fuel tank and have drained all the fuel out. And now what I'm going to do is try to remove the carburetor bowl underneath here with a couple bolts. So we'll use an 8mm socket to get underneath there. So now with the bolts out, I should be able to remove the carburetor bowl like this. There's obviously going to be fuel in it here, so be careful. You can maybe see here. I'm going to try to absorb the fuel into a nice cloth. We got this, interesting, this is just a plastic bowl on this carburetor. And then now what I'm going to want to do is try to clean out the carburetor intake, which maybe you can see right here. There's a float right there. Lift that up and you can see the carburetor intake there. I'm going to have to shove some shop towels in there, and I use a little brake clean to try to clean out those jets. All right, hopefully that'll do something. Now we're going to reattach the carburetor bowl. It's interesting, the screws that Briggs is using on this are basically coarse threaded screws. I have to say I'm not necessarily a fan of that. Use the 8mm socket and ratchet. Tighten these up. It's going to be important in this to try to get even torque when we clamp this down. Now that we got the carburetor cleaned and put back together, it's time to reinstall the fuel tank. And so in this case here, there's these little clamps. It's easy to show here with the camera like this. These are just little squeeze clamps. And then these little hooks right here on the fuel tank go right into these two little slots here on the engine, so it just slides down. So I'm going to start by trying to reattach the fuel line. Just working that onto the barbed fitting there. We'll get the seal in just a second here. There we go, and I'll just use a basic pair of pliers to bring that clamp over like that. The other clamp should be in place. And now we should have our fuel system all put back together. Fuel tank's empty. We're going to have to refuel this here. And so since my suspicion is that this is actually bad gas, let me go ahead and clean up some of the little bit of spilled fuel and brake clean under here. And now to refuel this, I've picked up a can of this 4-cycle True Fuel, so I know I can roll the bad fuel out right now. I've got everything cleaned up, so hopefully if my hunch is right and it was just bad fuel, I should be able to pour this in and get it working. I'm not going to fill it all the way up in case I have to drain the gas tank again. So just enough to be able to prove that it's running. There we go, fuel back in. We'll take our battery. I recharged this while I was picking up the other supplies, so we're back to a full, fresh charged Craftsman V20 battery. And now with the battery, and fuel, we will go ahead and see if this will start up here. With the battery installed. And so now I put the cover back on with a 1/4-inch socket, turn the power switch on. I installed that freshly charged V20 battery right there. Now we will press the start button on the back of the unit right here and see if this works. Now that the fuel, now that we know that it's working, I'm gonna go ahead and finish topping out the fuel system with the rest of this True Fuel. I'm gonna add in some sea foam just to be able to work through the engine. You may see some clouds and puffs of white smoke as I continue to run the pressure washer to try to get the sea foam all the way through to finish cleaning out the engine to try to remove any other carburetor gunk. All right, so we're gonna start this up one more time. I've got the hose connected. Hopefully you can see the hose. And we're gonna go ahead and give this a run. Hopefully you can see that on camera. Make sure there's not a backlog of pressure on the hose. Helps if you turn it on. I think a couple truths that we learned today is that whatever fresh fuel is, you don't know how long it's already been at the gas station, and always use a fuel preservative regardless of what you're buying, and always try to buy the premium fuel or try to find fuel from a station somewhere that is ethanol free. Now I can't pin down exactly if it's ethanol fuel or just old fuel. In any case, I think we had a clear case today of bad fuel, and that was able to be solved by cleaning out the carburetor and emptying out the fuel system. The last little bit of this is going to be a little more delicate, is disposing of the old fuel. We got a couple options. We may try to just be able to work it into this and just feed it in just piece by piece, a little bit at a time at a diluted rate. I'll leave that to my father-in-law to figure out how he wants to dispose of the fuel that we removed from here. But in any case here, we've got a properly working pressure washer that is ready to clean the driveway, clean a boat, clean a pool deck, or clean anything else that you may want to clean with a pressure washer. So if you got any questions or comments, go ahead and put it down below. Hope you found today's video useful on how to get a non-working pressure washer back up. Obviously, your case and situation may vary, but if you found this useful, give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day. Bye.